The 72 Dolphins record is safe for another season as the undefeated San Francisco 49ers and Philadelphia Eagles went down this week. Let's find out where they fall in my power rankings. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. I separate this into 5 different tiers that teams could fall under, with the top, of course, being Super Bowl contenders. Right below that are playoff teams I'm certain are going to make the postseason. Then playoff contenders is that middle tier. They can, maybe they won't. And then under that is could be, but unlikely. Teams that they could play spoiler and maybe sneak their way in the playoffs, but I think it's highly doubtful. And then, of course, the bottom tier is bottom of the league, and that's where we like to start. And we're going to go ahead and start that off with the Carolina Panthers. Hey, they got out to a 14-0 lead on the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins just flipped the switch. They were like, oh, that's right, we have a game today. Turned the offense on, and it was easy pickings after that. But Bryce Young did look better. The offense looked faster. Chuba Hubbard should be the lead back. They've gotten so much from him in just this one start than they have with Miles Sanders. The interior offensive line continues to be a concern. The defense is beat up. I think Frank Reich is handing off play calling duties now to Thomas Brown, the OC. So we'll see how they are going forward, but I still feel like they are probably, as of right now, the worst team in the league. They are also the only team without a victory this season. However, not far behind them is the New England Patriots. I get it. The offensive line is hurt. The defense is hurt. They don't have playmakers. And they still made it a competitive game. They were in the position to beat the Raiders this week, but they didn't. They lost. Mac Jones, I don't think, is the answer. You'd be like, how can he survive under these conditions? And it's like, the dude hasn't looked good since his rookie season. They're going to have to make a decision if they want to move forward, like long-term with him, or if they should start looking elsewhere. And let's be honest, they probably should start looking elsewhere. Who wants to pay Mac Jones? Who wants to pay him? Right in front of them, though, is going to be the Denver Broncos. Trying to remember, this was a Thursday night game. That's right. The defense kind of came out to play, right? It's just that offense, nothing was happening. Like Russell, did he have like under 100 passing yards or something? It was kind of an embarrassing showing for the offense, and I mean it sucks because they were in that game, but it never felt like they were in that game. Just from a score, from the score that they were in that game, but. It really feels like that Sean Payton might just blow up everything, start tearing down, get rid of some of the more lucrative contracts on this team to start making cap space. Maybe I'm kind of a fortune teller. I foresee a quarterback in their future, a young quarterback, and yeah, what is Rex Ryan now potentially going to come in and call the shots on the defense? Here is Vance Joseph going to be removed from his defensive play calling duties. I don't know. We shall see. Next is the New York Football Giants. No Daniel Jones this week, and honestly, the offense looked better with Tyrod Taylor. To be fair, that's not a high bar to get over. But they were able to move the football. They were able to put up some points. No offensive touchdown in this game. They put themselves in position to definitely score. We could talk about how they kind of got screwed there at the end on the defensive holding call. I think it should have been holding, not pass interference, because he was basically holding them through the whole route. Darren Waller, that is, who would have, if he would have caught that, that would have been the game-winning score there against the Buffalo Bills. But the offensive line is still a wreck. They had more injuries on the offensive line. Justin Pugh got forced to play left tackle in that game after missing for the most part, all of last season with an ACL injury. So this is his first football in a year, and he's there playing left tackle. And he's been a guard for basically his whole career. The defense, though, came and showed up and played good football. Right in front of them is the Chicago Bears. I don't know the extent of the Justin Fields injury. No, it's dislocated thumb. I don't know what the timeline is. Could they be moving forward, at least with Fields out, with Tyson Bagent? I don't know. He didn't look that good in relief duty there in the Minnesota game, despite that they were in that game. They're just kind of wild. But I don't know. We'll see going forward. This is another team that just kind of feels like bottom of the barrel. And then the last team in this bottom of the league is honestly, I think, my favorite team of this bunch. It's the Arizona Cardinals. They were in that game with the Rams until they weren't later in the second half, but they are fun to watch. They play a hell lot tougher than at least compared to, like, a lot of people thought this team was going to be bad. The depth's not great. There's not a lot of talent on this squad, but they play hard, and it makes them fun to watch. It wasn't Josh Dobbs' best game. He had a few bad misses to Hollywood Brown. The defense, the lack of depth, the lack of talent is really starting to show up. But still, they're playing hard. You can't put... they're a bottom of the league team, but you can't put them there at the end. Like these teams who have more talent look substantially worse. Let's move to that could be but unlikely tier, and I'm going to start here with the Green Bay Packers. They were on a bye, so I didn't move them really much of anywhere. The defense, it's a good defense outside of Joe Barry, the DC. Jordan Love, though, the inaccuracy downfield, it sucks. This offense just feels so stagnant and so just sub-mediocre at times. So getting a healthy Aaron Jones back this week could be huge. Right ahead of them is the Tennessee Titans. They are dealing with a high ankle sprain, I believe, from with Ryan Tannehill. Don't know if it's going to be Will Levis or Malik Willis who starts the next game. But this offense has no identity. Like, the left tackle position's not all that great. I think, didn't Dillard get hurt in this game? And then Nicholas Petit-Frere had got his first snaps of the season and looked terrible too. The run game, outside of a couple of big runs, was nothing. The passing game was nothing. There's no identity on this offense. Like, it's a Mike Vrabel team. They're going to play hard. But golly, they got to figure things out on offense. Next team on the list is the Minnesota Vikings. No Justin Jefferson kind of sucks. Who would have thought? But, man, Kirk Cousins had, like, one of the most Kirk Cousins games. Like, he had a couple of nice deep passes that ended up being dropped. He had the backwards throw that was a fumble. That was pretty bad, but a ton of checkdowns. That's kind of feels like what the offense might end up being as long as Justin Jefferson is out. Offensive line played well, but they were also facing the Chicago Bears. Defense, Brian Flores isn't making it easy. I know they don't have the most talent on this defense, but he is constantly bringing pressure, and he's disguising it exceptionally well. I think he's doing the best that he can with this defense. Next is the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a team playing tough, and don't know if they'll have Jimmy G. He was out of the game with a back injury, but Brian Hoyer came in and was like, hey, you want to see a deep pass? And they got themselves a deep pass. I think it was just a Trey Tucker, but parts of this defense is starting to step up. As we saw last, of course they got Max Crosby, who's one of the best defensive players in the league. But last week we saw with like Malcolm Kuntz, Tyler Hall, Trevor Merrick stepped up big time in this game for the Raiders. So it's hard to discount the Raiders, but I feel like they are just in this tier of teams that it's like, you just worry about, like, what can they do offensively? Devontae Adams is still trying to get healthy, but playing through injury. So I don't know. We'll see moving forward what the Raiders have in store. News broke tonight that Anthony Richardson is likely to miss the rest of the season. He's gone to multiple specialists about his shoulder, trying to see if there's a way he can play sometime this season. So far, it sounds like that won't be the case. Means more Gardner Minshew, but I feel like Gardner Minshew gives this team more upside than a lot of other teams. I know his return to Jacksonville, Minshew Mania 5, wasn't spectacular. It was, yeah, he had some bad throws in the deep in the middle of the field to the safeties, but like he was still able to keep this team. Like Minshew's a gunslinger, man. He was able to keep this team in the game against the Jaguars. Like it looked like it was okay. It was like what, 30-6, looked like this game was out of reach, and then all of a sudden it became 30-20. And yes, ultimately Jags were the better team. They ended up winning by 17. But man, good Gardner Minshew, even just like baseline Gardner Minshew, he's gonna get this team some wins. That's still a solid defense there they have in Indianapolis as well. So the New York Jets beat the Eagles this week. A lot of that was the Eagles offense just not looking good. The Eagles offense just has not looked nearly as good as it did last season. This team being carried by the defense, a defense that didn't have Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed this week. Bryce Huff is getting pressure like nobody's business. But like Zach Wilson, I mean, was it a good game by him? Not really, but he didn't put the ball in harm's way despite like just immense pressure. That's basically probably all you can really ask for him at this point. I don't think he's had that one drive against the Chiefs, and outside of that, it's been like this offense ain't moving too much. That's kind of feels like where the offense is. I don't know how much of that changes. They get a bye, I believe, this week, so I don't know, man. We'll see how they look coming out of the bye, but I know they're 3-3. I just don't think they're playoff contenders. And then the question is, I am going to go up a tier here. I'm going to go ahead and go to the playoff contender category. I'm going to start this off with the Atlanta Falcons. This team feels like if they had any other quarterback, for the most part, outside of Desmond Ridder, this would be a playoff team. Their defense is really good. I know they struggle to get pressure, but the secondary has been pretty solid there for them. Offensively, man, they got the parts, they got the tools. Desmond Ridder, man, after coming off his best game of his career the previous week against the Texans, he was horrible this week against I can't even remember who they were facing, the Commanders. And in spite of that, they were in this game. So I feel like this is a playoff team, which makes me want them to put in Taylor Heineke. Next team up is actually going to be the team that defeated them, the Washington Commanders. I'm going to have them one spot ahead of the Falcons here. Did I call them Eagles? Probably called them Eagles a few times. I'm going to hear that in the comment section. I know. But Sam Howell, honestly, is not playing bad football outside of quit taking sacks. Not all of this is on the offensive line. A lot of people like depending on like, oh, this offensive line has been terrible. And I think this offensive line has been solid enough. Sam Howell is just, he is forcing so many sacks and pressure onto himself. But like, apart from that, like the dude's making throws. He had a really nice deep pass to Jahan Dotson that went dropped here. So like this offense can be more than it is currently. And I'm hoping that might be something that gets better with Sam Howell. Chase Young had a good game this week, so good win for the Commanders. Next team ahead of them, I have the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, man. Like, I know he put up a lot of yards, but golly, it felt like his ball placement, maybe just his time and anticipation, it was all over the map. Like, they get into scoring position, and they're getting like no points. Their final 4 drives, they got to inside the Houston 27 or closer, and out of those 4 drives, they only came away with 3 points. This offense is so bad when it's in or close to the red zone. It's really embarrassing, which sucks because this is a very good defense. Pittsburgh Steelers had a bye, so I don't think I moved them any spots. Maybe they figure out, maybe Matt Canada, a bye week gives them time to draw up some plays. Get creative on offense. Ooh. But it's Mike Tomlin, man. He's going to have this team above 500. All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're coming here at 16 on my power rankings. Tough loss to the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions kind of a powerhouse right now. So not all on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Baker wasn't good. It felt like he was off on a lot of his deep passes. He missed guys like Mike Evans, Trey Palmer, and the run game doesn't exist. Cody Mock had his worst game of the year of his rookie season. He was finally shown what NFL strength could look like. Benito Jones, man, schooled this dude. And I mean, I don't feel like the Lions defense, at least coverage-wise, I feel like the Bucs beat themselves on offense because the defense played a good game for the Bucs. And I know you'll look at like Jared Goff's passing yards, but that was like on a few big plays. One to Amon-Ra St. Brown, the other to Jameson Williams. But like the run game, they couldn't run the football. David Montgomery, again, he did get hurt, but I think he only was averaging like 3 yards a carry anyway prior to the injury. So like Tampa's a good squad, man, but they just need Baker on. And I think you just got to accept sometimes he's just not going to be. And it sucks that they don't have a run game to rely on when Baker is not feeling it. Right ahead of them, I'm going to put the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford is playing great football. He really is. He is throwing up some dimes. Puka should have had a touchdown in this game, but he dropped a absolute dot from Matthew Stafford. Granted, it was a diving catch that he dropped, so not the easiest catch in the world. The defense it's still Aaron, Donald, and friends, but they're playing better than expected. Granted, this was against the Cardinals, but still the defense is better than it really should be. Ahead of the Texans, or ahead of the Rams here at 14 is actually the Houston Texans. I got them as a playoff contender. Big move up this week. I think they were my biggest positive mover this week with plus 6 spots. CJ Stroud probably had his worst throw of the year, and it'll be an interception, and then he just clapped back, act like it didn't happen, and ran this offense effectively. Wasn't the prettiest win, but it was win nonetheless. The defense played a good game. And, man, the Texans, are they a bit of overachievers right now? Yeah, but they got parts going forward that you're like, yeah, now this team is just a few players away of being something deadly. Do want to note that Dameon Pierce is losing snaps. His play has not been good this year, and then Devin Singletary outplayed him in this game, and they were on a 50-50 snap count. I know fantasy owners don't want to hear that about Dameon Pierce. All right, I'm gonna put the Chargers. This is gonna be the final team in my playoff contender tier, and you'd be like, well, the Chargers, they just battled the Cowboys like to the whistle, like to the end of the game. Cowboys are a good team. Allegedly. But Chargers gonna Charger, man. Brandon Staley, a defensive-minded coach, has his defense. They had some bright spots, but they're not playing particularly well. Justin Herbert was off in this game. Like, he was missing a lot of throws. So you're kind of hoping coming out of the bye, the Chargers would have looked more impressive at home. But it is what it is, man. Chargers, they have the talent to be a playoff team. It's just, can they be? Can they be? So let's go ahead, jump to this playoff team tier. I'm going to start with the Cleveland Browns. They beat the 49ers with P.J. Walker at quarterback. To be fair, it was a rainy game. And they also have the best defense in the league. One of the best defense in the league. The Myles Garrett had one hell of a showdown with Trent Williams. But the defense consistently came up huge. The offense was able to do enough to score points. Jerome Ford, I think he didn't really have a good game until like a long run in the fourth quarter. That's where he got most of his yards. So like Deshaun Watson, this team will be better with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. That's a fact. How much better though? That's the question. And how soon can he come back? Because he is apparently feeling a lot of pain in his shoulder. So we'll see, but this defense is Super Bowl caliber. Right ahead of them, I'm going to have the Seattle Seahawks. Tough loss this week against the Bengals. They had a chance to win it. Geno had a long pass to Tyler Lockett. Got him, I think they were inside the 20, and then just were unable to, they couldn't convert the first down, and they were just unable to score. And that ended up being the deciding factor. Granted, Bengals defense, kind of really good. They're on, like, they have found themselves over the past couple of weeks, but yeah, I think the Seahawks, they're still struggling with trying to get pressure on the quarterback now that they're not facing teams like the Giants, teams like the Panthers, who have some offensive line struggles. There was no pressure to be found. Like, a lot of the pressure that was created was because of coverage. Like, Devon Witherspoon was that good in coverage. Trey Brown had a hell of a game. Really, really did. So, defensively, I'm still a bit skittish on the Seahawks. They still need a pass rusher to kind of step up. And offensively, you're kind of hoping they would have been able to come away with more points given how many opportunities they had. But hopefully they're going to get a healthy Abraham Lucas in here next week or the week after. I think he should be coming off IR. Charles Cross did play in this game, but Jake Curran just got mollywopped. Speaking of this game, I got the Bengals a spot ahead of them after they get in the win. This Bengals defense was fire. It was DJ Reader. It was Trey Hendrickson and friends. Golly, man. They played a good game. Joe Burrow, he's moving well. That's good to see. The offense, though, didn't look clean in this game. It didn't. When's T. Higgins going to be T. Higgins? And Joe Mixon, he can't rest. Joe Mixon's done. Joe Mixon's done. I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. If you love weekly best ball or player prop bets, taking higher or lower, then Underdog Fantasy is for you. When you sign up with promo code Broshmo, they will match your first deposit up to $100 dues, which means if you use promo code Broshmo when you sign up, and your first deposit is, let's say, $50, you're going to have $100 to play with. If it's $100, you're going to have $200. There is not a better place to play weekly best ball. We even have a segment on our picks and bets video for the player prop portion, if you want to go higher or lower, called Gojo's Picks of the Week. And let me tell you, that segment, I love it. But as always, bet responsibly, my friends. Now, Broshmo, tell me more about the Bengals. But I guess as the Bengals kind of figure out things offensively, this defense is good enough to carry them quite a bit. They get into 3-3 with Burrow looking healthier. You got to feel good. Dallas Cowboys winning on Monday Night Football on the road. Good win. Was it perfect from the offense? No, not entirely, but they were able to move the ball in key moments. Dak looked a heck of a lot better. You got the defense stepped up big. Stephon Diggs with the interception on another thrown pass by Justin Herbert to end the game. So, honestly, it does feel like the Cowboys. They belong in this playoff team tier. They got the talent. They're a playoff team. We just need Dak to play consistently. All right. I got the Baltimore Ravens coming in right here. Good win over in London against the Titans. The offense looked better, but definitely left a lot of meat on the bone. They could have converted in the red zone much, like instead of settling for field goals, they should have been scoring touchdowns. I think this offense is still kind of figuring itself out. No key drops this week, I believe. And the defense needs to get healthy, needs to get healthier at corner, needs to get healthier on the edge, though Javion Clowney stepping up huge for this squad. Got immense pressure. I got one more team in this tier. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are borderline about to be in the Super Bowl contender tier. Wasn't a perfect game by Trevor Lawrence. It really, really wasn't. And then he has the knee, I think it was a knee concern. It looked like initially he had his ankle rolled up on, but I guess it's a knee injury. He's listed as day-to-day. But they were able to get a couple of big plays on offense, and the defense really stepped up, played good football. We were able to create some turnovers. They were getting pressure, like Travon Walker was getting pressure. Let's go! So the defense is starting to play well. Offense, they had a couple of good showings the prior couple of weeks, so okay. If you score 37 points and I'm looking at it and being like, okay, the offense wasn't perfect, then you're probably at least feeling good about that. It's like, oh, okay, we scored 37 points, and there's definitely some things we need to improve upon because we weren't perfect in this game. And then let's jump to the Super Bowl tier as I got the Detroit Lions. I want to move them up. Good win over the Bucs. This team needs to get healthier. Now with David Montgomery, he's already ruled out for the next game. Jahmyr Gibbs sounds like he's going to be coming back. But man, the defense, it was a good defensive outing. Like, they were getting pressure. And I think the important part was they were getting pressure from guys whose name wasn't Aiden Hutchinson. Huge. I still worry about that secondary. Again, we go back talking to the Bucs that there was a lot of missed opportunities downfield in this game. They were present. They were available. Lions got lucky. We'll see going moving forward, man. But this is a really good team. Jared Goff I was completely wrong about Goff, at least in this offense. When I was like, okay, you kind of want to get his contract off the books. Do you think he's really worth 33 million? And yes, he is. Awesome. He's awesome in this offense. At number 5, I have my Miami Dolphins. Fins up, baby. We've been molly-whopping teams like the Panthers, the Giants, the Broncos. That Patriots win doesn't look that good anymore. But hey, man, I know we had the loss of the Bills, but I think this offense is humming. They can put up a lot of points. The defense, let's get into this groove. Bradley Chubb has stepped up huge. He's starting to play to that contract. He's starting to play up to all that money we gave him. Big game Sunday night against the Eagles. For me, it's kind of a must-win to kind of prove that, hey, no. Dolphins, they're legit. And then one spot ahead of them, I have the Buffalo Bills. Okay, yeah. They won 14-9 against the Giants. Not great. However, they were, benefit of the doubt, they were coming back from England. Maybe there was a little jet lag. Regardless, like, this defense really, really held up and allowed Josh Allen to finally get in a groove in the second half. They were able to get the job done. Josh Allen's a big play machine, so I'm sure he'll be back again next week, slinging the rock, putting up big fantasy points. He didn't against the Giants, but he will be better. Sometimes he just has games like, and honestly, it wasn't even a game where he was turning the ball over. Like, he had the one interception in this game, but outside of that, he wasn't really putting the ball in harm's way. Ahead of him is the Philadelphia Eagles, who will be taking on the Dolphins. This offense, Jalen Hurts had, like, you got Jalen Hurts making some bad passes. You have some injuries, like we had Lane Johnson get injured early in this game. Jack Driscoll, normally a pretty dependable backup, played pretty bad against the Jets, but the Jets are a really good defense. You've had drops, like Devontae Smith had a really bad drop in this game. The offense just isn't functioning well right now. It's doing it well enough, and a lot of that's on the back of a pretty darn good defense that they have there. So, hey, listen, the Eagles, they have all the parts to figure it out. I'm not bumping them down. It sucks. It was a bad loss, but that game was totally winnable. And quite frankly, I think the Eagles should have won that game. Then here at number 2, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Broncos. Did it look pretty? Not really. Kind of hoping for someone else outside of Travis Kelce to step up. But it is what it is. That defense is really good for Kansas City, and they still have Patrick Mahomes. So I know Patrick's not playing like phenomenal like he normally does, you know? Like his touch passes have not been that great this season. A lot of them have been interceptions. But it's still, you don't want to doubt Patrick Mahomes. And this defense is just, again, phenomenal. Re-sign Chris Jones. And then at number 1 is the San Francisco 49ers, who probably had the worst loss of the week against PJ Walker and the Cleveland Browns. But it was a messy game. Brock Purdy probably played the worst game of his career. He was off target a lot. Had a bad interception in this game. Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Well, tried to return and ended up just getting shut down. Deebo Samuel got hurt. I want to say Brandon Ayuk may have had a bad drop, but I mean, he was getting a lot of the volume after all those guys were out. Like George Kittle, it felt like he wasn't even on the field. I think he was only targeted once. But the offensive line had its struggles. Granted, Cleveland, really good defensive line, but still, I've been talking about, like, outside of like Trent Williams, this line has not been perfect. It's been very mediocre. And I felt like that was kind of on display in this game. Defensively, man, the team played as well. The team, they gave the Niners a shot. This was Brock Purdy's worst game of his career. You were down CMC. You were down Deebo. And you had a chance to win the game. Like, if you're the Niners, that's not all that bad. You're on the road, playing in a wet and rainy game, and not even playing that well, and you lose because Jake Moody missed a field goal. He missed 2 field goals, so missed the game winner and missed one earlier in the game. Fun fact, he was a 3rd-round pick. Just saying. It is what it is, but that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing, and as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.